Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and we got another first class guest up in the spot today. But before we do that, before we introduce him, I want to remind everybody that we are live at Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to Mark behind the glass. And also, let's take a second to talk about our sponsors at New York Posse. New York Posse is a brand that strives to inspire and push creative culture forward. Check out all of their outstanding apparel at newyorkposse.com and follow them on social media. You can also purchase New York Posse apparel at Levitate in the American Dream Mall, as well as Palisades Mall, Butterfly in Yonkers, and many other locations throughout the tri-state area. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we do have a very special first class guest up in the house today. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I'm a huge hip hop head. I'm an advocate. Shout out to the hip hop advocates, by the way. And I just love the art form. I love everything. I'm an underground head, and we all know where we could debate on how questionable it is with the mainstream and so on and so forth. But this is people. This artist right here is one that's keeping it alive. I would say that he's part of hip-hop's defibrillator, keeping it alive in the culture. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the man that was raised by Biggie and Stone Cold. Ladies and gentlemen, Action Figure 973. What is going on, bro?
Going on, man? That was a beautiful intro, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, bro, first and foremost, thank you for coming through, man. I really appreciate it. We were mentioning before before the cameras were on that, had a little bit of mix-up on schedules and so on and so forth. But you're here, and I appreciate that nonetheless.
Yeah, man. Like I said, like I was just saying before, like I love doing interviews, so I try to accommodate them as much as possible. So,
okay, all right,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? So,
all right, so with the name Action Figure 973, when you hear the area code 973, people automatically think that's Passaic County or Essex County, Hudson County. So what's the story behind there?
So when I came out as a action figure, like I didn't really, I didn't do my Googles until I started coming out with music. And one day I went on Apple Music and I was like, yo, I never once checked if there was another action figure out there. So when I went, and I looked and there was another dude named Action Figure, but he was out in Cali. So, shout outs to him. I didn't really see, I saw like a couple records and stuff. So I was just like, yo, just in case son is really strong about that name, you know what I'm saying? I'll differentiate it. And I was like, I'm living in Belleville. I'm originally from Hudson County, but I moved to Belleville a couple years ago. So that's kind of where the genesis of all this came from. So
nice.
I wanted to honor that. So yeah.
Okay, so corny question coming up here, but when did you first fall in love with hip hop?
When I was young, when I was like, it was 9 years old. So around this time, Biggie had died, Tupac had died. So it was the end of the East Coast, West Coast. So it was like I hate that we got to talk about it, man. Sorry, with the Diddy, man. So No Way Out, that was out. Like I'll Be Missing You was out. So I remember, man, I was at summer camp, man, and when I first really was noticing that I liked music, and you know what I mean, I was at summer camp, and they had a talent show at the end of the summer camp, and there's this kid that went up and he performed "I'll Be Missing You."
Okay.
But before he performed "I'll Be Missing You," he was like, "Oh, I want to rap," and he ended up kicking his own rhyme and shit. And I was like, "Oh wow!" People actually. I was like, as a young kid, I was like, "Oh, people actually do that." Yeah. So from there on, man, I was studying everything that was coming out. Triumph was just out.
Oh, shout out to Wu-Tang.
So, I was watching those videos, and later on, that same year, that was also the same year. If I Ruled the World came out with Nas.
So then, Hill,
so it's it was written, Nas, the Fugees, all of that. That's what really got me noticing hip hop.
See, I don't know how old you are. I just turned 38 years old. So
I'm 36.
Okay, all right. So cool.
Yeah.
So in the 80s, they kind of call that the golden age, or the golden era of hip hop. But me personally, I guess based on where I was raised and the time that I fell in love with hip hop and so on and so forth, that what you described right there was the golden age, at least from my era. For me,
right.
For me, that's what really set it off. And I don't know if you knew this, and I mentioned this before on my show a couple of times, but there was a time where I actually used to rap. I used to be an MC. Didn't really go anywhere. I got into it for the wrong reasons, the whole nine. Anybody could watch the rest of the past episodes to know the whole story and everything.
Yeah.
But
I understand. I could understand that.
Yeah, but there was a time where I was really heavily considering it, and the person that really got me out of my zone, that really wanted me to take the shit seriously at the time, was DMX.
Okay.
As soon as I heard It's Dark and Hell is High, because around that time there was also that shiny suit era. Again, we got to talk about Diddy again, unfortunately, but everything all had the shiny suits, and you said the East Coast, West Coast, whatever. So everything was kind of like commercialized and getting all glitz and glamored and the bling bling era and so on and so forth. And DMX just kind of brought that rawness, grittiness out of me, and that was my introduction. And then I have some cousins, shout out to Stephen Renee, who used to do music back in the day, and they were the ones that introduced me to like the realness of like from the underground stuff. I'm talking about like Boot Camp Click and Sean Price and Black Moon and all that. And that's why I really fell in love with it, because I've always been a movie guy also, and I've always liked dark, gritty movies. And I felt like that kind of music back then was like the soundtrack to that. So that's what really pulled me in. And when I started doing music, I wanted to follow that route, but everybody else was trying to put me on that commercialized route. They wanted me to make money off of it, where I was just trying to do it as passion. And admittedly, I was trying to do it for money as well. I did see the music videos and so on and so forth, and I didn't want ass shaking in my face and so on and so forth. But
I think everybody, when you start to rap or you think about rap, that's usually the first things that makes you fall in love with it.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
It's
just what you're seeing on the music videos, because you're adolescent, so you're not even really thinking that you're thinking that's real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's times where I thought like music videos were like that's like their life. That's what they're doing. Not realizing that like just like how you said you like movies, essentially that's what music videos are.
That's all it is. It was all entertainment. Yeah,
it's all entertainment.
And also when we're young at that time, our hormones are going all over the place. So we see that, we want that lifestyle.
Right, and you're thinking that these guys are on a music video, they're on MTV, you're seeing this TV, you know what I'm saying, broadcasted in your house. You think that they're all rich and they all got money. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't find out a lot of those guys
they owe the record companies.
They owe people money for that. You know what I'm saying? So
but I got into it for a little bit, and I really saw the ugly politics of the game and so on and so forth. And that's when I just realized that, you know what, this is just not for me. I don't have the passion for it anymore. It was literally, I remember specifically one night when I was trying to write over an instrumental, and I literally had nothing to write. And I was like, that's it. I think this is it. I don't think I could do this anymore. Just put it down. Never looked at it again.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I came back to doing music, I came off of a hiatus as well.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what? You're not the first person to say that, because it's happened a couple of times. Like, I had the Hip Hop Advocates on my show before. Shout out to the Hip Hop Advocates. Okay. And they kind of went through a little bit hiatus because, life be lifing. But then afterwards, they went back into it. But that separates them and you to somebody like me, where you guys still have it in you. Me, I feel like I got in it for the wrong reasons, and that's why I'm not doing it anymore.
Right. And I could agree to that. Like, I'll tell anybody back in the day, like, I wanted all of that. You know what I'm saying? I wanted all of that, but I wanted to still, like, remain myself in that way. You know what I mean? But I know, like, everybody wants it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. Everybody can say that they're not in it for the wrong reasons. Everybody, when they start getting that attention and start getting, like, all of that shit that they really want, like, deep down inside, like, a lot of people don't know how to handle it, and that's the problem, that people don't know how to control their emotions on certain things like that.
And let me tell you something, bro. I've been in the podcast game for almost 3 years now, and one of the things that I've noticed is that the hip hop game and the podcast game ain't really that much different anymore. Because when I first got into it, it was all about collaboration and getting to know one another. Now it seems like there's a lot of people that are in competition with each other. Now it's still a good community. Right. I'm still part to be a proud of it. Excuse me, but I've even had a couple of podcasters from like New York that I haven't seen or talked to in years, that maybe I did their show once upon a time, and then afterwards they kind of like are saying things about me and my show and so on and so forth, and thinking like I'm trying to steal their style or whatever. But like, dude, like, I'm just doing my own thing. And last time I checked, you've been doing your show, I don't know, a little bit, a couple more years longer than me, and I have more episodes than you have in your entirety. But the point that I'm making at is that the podcast game and the rap game, it seems like there's no really big difference these days.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's competitive, man. Everything is competitive. Like, everybody wants to control everybody. Like, it's impossible nowadays to just be the definitive hip hop podcast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's impossible to be a definitive podcast when like, yo, there's so many. You could spin around.
Right.
You could, it's like pissing in the wind. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's so many podcasts. Everybody has a podcast.
And that's the thing. I'm not even trying to be the best podcaster in the world. I'm just doing something that I fucking love doing. And excuse me if I'm, on fire with what I'm doing simply because I enjoy doing it, not because I'm trying to aim for the number one spot.
Right. Like, let me tell you, like, right now, like, lately, things have, like, a lot of attention has been kind of coming my way as of recent.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like right now we're like I'm in the process of leveling up right now, and there's a lot of people that obviously notice that. And there's a lot of people that are competitive with that, and it's just like I've never understood it. Is like people love you, you know what I'm saying, when you're first coming out. You know what I'm saying? And then as soon as they start seeing you like achieving things a little bit, as soon as they start seeing you, maybe win a little bit more than they are, then it's like it becomes you become inferior.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I've never understood that. I've always been the guy that, like, if the person next to me is winning, I'm
exactly. That's the way I look at it.
I love seeing people win.
And that's why I love being part of this community, especially be a shameless plug a little bit here, but Bravery Studios, that's what it feels like here. It's family, everybody.
It's
shout
dope.
out to, shout out to Mars, shout out to Mina, shout out to everybody at Bravery Studios.
Because like I said, I've been in this room before.
Yeah, you have.
Shout out to Mina. Yeah, hell yeah, man.
I know that if Mina watches this, she could be like, so what? I got him first, but it's all good. It's all love. Love you, Mina.
And I love Mina, man. Shout outs to Mina, man. She hosted an event like recently that Astra and Rip Dispensary put together.
Yeah, I was actually invited, but that was also on my birthday, so I already had plans, so I didn't get to go, and also because I can't partake in marijuana, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go, but. I did see you perform. I forget the name of the place, but it was in Jersey City. I was there with Marv, and you were there with a whole bunch of other people. You were there with Wolverine. Shout out to Wolverine, by the way. And I just think that, no disrespect to anybody that was there, everybody did a great job, but it was just something about you, and it's not just the mask, but it was something about you and the way that you carried yourself on stage was what stuck out more than anybody else.
It's funny, like that was like an open mic. You know what I'm saying? And my homie Mars puts that on. I think with a shorty, they do that together.
Cool.
And Eater Red was performing, so I was pulling up to just perform on E's set. And they said they had the open mic, so I was like, oh, I can still sign up. So they were like, yo, you want to sign up for the open mic? They're like, you want to do the open mic? Like, really? Like really? Like, everybody was like, yo, you sure? And I was like, yeah, like, why not? Like, I looked at it as like a dark match, you know what I'm saying? An untelevised match. Like, I wasn't even prepared when you saw me. Like, I wish you'd have been around for maybe a better performance, but that was fun. Though.
Not yet. It hasn't happened yet, but I do plan on doing it because I've been catching your show. I mean, I catch the show that you had with Mina, and then I saw you perform live. So ever since then, I've been listening to your music, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And I genuinely love your music, and what I love about it is, I mentioned earlier that I grew up on that underground dark hip hop shit and everything like that, and. What's an interesting time in hip hop right now is that a lot of people are kind of following suit. They're not compromising their art, and it's actually getting played now. Griselda is probably the best example of that right now. They have that uncompromising music that is catching everybody's attention, and they don't even they prove that you don't need to have streams and hits with a beat that doesn't have an 808. Right,
and you know what? I know a lot of people give credit to Griselda, but the people that I really look at as like the forefathers of kind of like the new renaissance that's going on right now is Rock Marciano and Sean Price.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned
guys
that
like Euro Droog. Those were guys that were still keeping it going, like Royce the 5'9", Slaughterhouse. Like those people that were still like going, but it's just that the music wasn't hitting like the way Griselda's music hit.
I hear you.
I think they came and I think Griselda just kind of came and like help more bulldoze that down more than anything. And I always I recently met West, and you know what I'm saying, that I had to thank him for that.
I actually
because before anybody heard me, I've been doing more or less the music that I make now. I feel like I've been doing it, but it wasn't as polished as it is now. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like it has more of a kind of a focus now, but Griselda definitely, definitely thankful for those guys for actually like making it like like a
What
thing
it is
now
now,
that people people can now like listen to stuff outside of the drill and trap stuff. And,
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody, like even Drake has like tracks with Conductor Williams now and Derringer. So
Yeah.
it's a movement.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned Royce the 5'9" because I actually did meet that dude like more than 10 years ago because he's sober now, but back then this is when his heavily drinking days. This is a funny story. It's really cool. I actually still have in my apartment to this day the two physical albums of Street Hop, his solo album, and the Slaughterhouse album. And
The first one? Yeah.
yeah, and I was working at a restaurant. I was a bartender, and him and his manager just happened to come in there for lunch. I had both of my CDs in my car. I immediately go upstairs and get them. I go up to his table. I feel a little weird coming up to him while he's trying to eat his food and shit like that. But he signs it. He had a great. He was really appreciative because that actually went out and bought them. And then afterwards, when he was done with lunch, he came over to just kicked it with me at the bar for like an hour or so. It was one of the coolest moments of my life. And I've been on this thing of manifestation recently. So I'm hoping that I can get him on first class, second place one day, and I can bring that story up to him, and let me see if he can remember it or not. And if not, I got the picture to prove it.
Hell yeah, that's dope, man.
Yeah. So I want to get into your music a little bit. So. First and foremost, you had that joint with Wolverine, which I think is one of the hardest covers that you have, where it's you in the luchador mask that you're wearing right now, and going against Wolverine, the X-Men character.
Yeah,
it's a really really dope thing. So what's the story between you and Wolverine? Like, how did you two link up? Because if I'm not mistaken, he's a New York dude, he's a Queens dude, and you're Jersey.
Yeah, he's from Newark. He's from Queens, and I'm obviously from Jersey. What happened was. Shouts to Twitter, man. Or X. He followed me on
we call it Twix around here. We don't do that X shit. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Twitter. Yeah, there you go. Me neither. So he's produced for a homie of mine named Gustavo Luis before, who also wears the luchador mask as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he followed me on Twitter, and I had released my album Haberdashery, my first project, my debut project, which is more of a producer collaboration, like a producer compilation, and he really liked the joint Tommy Hilfiger versus Ralph Lauren, which is me and Micah Wright going back and forth rhyming. And obviously he enjoyed the album as well, but he enjoyed that song. And then around the same time, I did a performance video for my homies, the Comeback Code, which is a vintage shop out in Kearney. It's my homie's shop.
Okay.
Shout outs to E. So I did a song called Live from the Comeback, and we did like a little video, like the microphone in the middle of the store, and I'm just performing the record, and he heard that and loved it. It was a drumless song that I had produced, and then he tapped in one day and just said, "Yo, if I send you something, would you rap on it?" And I just told him, I was like, "Yeah, if it's something I like, sure." And then he sent me something, and from there he sent me a bunch of stuff, and I kind of wrote 3 songs the first day. And then, had the project written. And then, everything was just kind of like, I had to wait for my engineer to get back from Puerto Rico to record the project.
Yeah.
Recorded the Luchadors Going Platinum project right before my homie's wedding. Quick, so that's how it all kind of happened. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I find also interesting is that when it comes to superhero movies, with the exception of this past year, it seems like Marvel or DC is always trying to release a movie around my birthday, which is May 3rd. And I've noticed that you actually have a couple of projects out here that came out on May 3rd. So I don't know if that was purely coincidence or because you're following the superhero formula where you're trying to release it right before the summer.
Oh, no, man. So, by the way, I didn't answer your first question, the other part of your question with the cover art.
Okay, yeah.
So I want to double back to that.
All right,
we're going
to Tarantino this shit. Shout out to Pulp Fiction, and then we're going to come back.
So that cover art, man. So shout outs to Craig Dyer, who is a cover artist based out of the UK, and he's done covers for like AM Early Morning, I believe Ito. He's done a bunch of covers that are out there where there's just these beautiful artworks that he paints, with acrylics and the whole nine. And he had tapped in with me and Eric, and he did the cover for me and Eric's project that we got coming soon. Eric the Red, shout out my brother Eric the Red 13.
Yeah, by the way, this is the cover if you guys can see it right there.
Yeah. So this, like, Wolverine had, he asked me, he's like, "Yo, why don't we get Craig Dyer to do the diamond cover?" And I was like, I was like, "Oh man, we'd have to ask him." And, Craig Dyer ended up messaging, DMing a picture to to Wolverine, and it was originally like it was a Spider-Man and Wolverine. He was like, "Yo, I would like to do a cover like this with you in action. Would that be able to happen?" And yeah, so you were talking about manifesting. Wolverine manifested that. Like
nice.
he wanted Dyer to do a cover, and Dyer ended up popping up out of nowhere.
Look at that!
Like,
round of applause for Wolverine
idea.
right now.
And then yeah, man. So that rolled into everything else, like us getting the deal for that project. And
Now, like I said, I've been listening to your music for quite a while now, and I like Luchadors Going Platinum Was Destined to Come, and Luchadors Going Diamond Was Destined to Come.
Right.
Now, I've been listening. I'll be honest with you, I've been listening to Diamond a lot more than Platinum, but I love Platinum. But Diamond that is my shit. I mean, Acklo versus Cactus Jack. That has got to be my favorite track.
That's
on
one of mine as well.
That's a super hard record. Now, but I'm thinking like you being the hip hop aficionado that you are, the historian that you are, the student of the game that you are. Yeah. I want to assume that the Diamonds or the Platinums Was Destined to Come was coming from Terror Squad from back in the day.
Coming from Pun, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's what happened. So I'm a Pun guy. Like I love Big Pun. Like I've known his wife. I've
oh, okay.
I've met his wife before. I've spoke to Cuban Link. I've had a cool. I had a little rapport with Triple Six back in the day.
Oh wow.
Different things like that. But yeah, when I was thinking of the project with me and Wolf when I was doing Platinum, the idea was just I was just thinking like I was like, yo, what do I call this? And I needed something to just stamp it. And I said, Luchadors Going Platinum Was Destined to Come, because I was thinking of the pun rhyme when he said it. So when I thought of that, I was like, that's beautiful. And I was like, yo, and we started working on Diamond right after, like a couple weeks after we recorded Platinum. So he was like, yo, what do we call it? I was like, Diamond. So we went Platinum. I was like, yo, now we're going Diamond. And
I love that. Round of applause real quick for that, Marv. Yeah. So you're Hispanic, right?
Puerto Rican.
You're Puerto Rican, all right.
Yeah, 100%.
So now, obviously, you just mentioned about Big Pun and Terror Squad and the whole nine and everything. Do you feel like, does it even matter anymore, or do you feel like because of the fact that we're Hispanics and be trying to get in the game, that they try to sometimes fit us in a box or trying to do something that's like really Latin flavor in order for us to really make it to the top of where we want to go, or even work with like other people like in the reggaeton era? Because that's kind of what happened to me when I was doing music back then. Do you feel like the politics has affected somebody of your caliber into trying to do stuff like that, or you just kind of do your own thing? You don't give a fuck? I
just kind of do my own thing. Yeah. I've never ran into any issues or anything like that. No, I don't feel grouped into anything. Like
well, I mean,
Spanish.
you also
the only thing that
you have the mask, so that kind of works to your advantage.
Yeah. Nah, but then the only thing that people have done is just like sometimes I go to spots and they'll be like, "Yo, Rey Mysterio," or somebody once called me Nacho Libre.
Get the
at a show. Like shout outs to my homegirl Cece, man. She was performing a track that I produced for her at a show, and she was like, "Oh, shout outs to Action Figure produced the song." She's like, "That's the mysterious guy in the mask back there." In the video, you hear a girl go, "Oh my God, it's Nacho Libre."
Oh no!
So it's like stupid shit like that.
But
nothing crazy.
All right.
I always just get called either Rey Mysterio or Nacho Libre.
Okay, all right.
Nothing racist. Like,
No. I didn't think about it like it's racist or anything.
No,
I
got you. Or like not grouping me or anything. Nah,
okay,
like,
all right.
Nah, so I think like now like reggaeton and kind of hip hop, like they kind of just really like it's bridge, but then it's almost like separate.
Yeah. Well, because that's like the only reason I kind of bring that up is because, like I mentioned before, when I was doing music, I got mixed in with some producers that really liked with me and my other boy that we used to do music together. Right. This is when reggaeton had just exploded. Like everybody was doing Gasolina, We City Yandel, and everything. So they wanted us to ride that wave. It was, what it was? It was kind of weird. It was almost like they wanted to add like a Kanye West type of swag with Latin flavor, like the kind of beats that Kanye would do, like with My Twisted Dark Fantasy or whatever, but add like some Spanish flavor to it. I don't know how to really perfectly describe it, but that's what they were trying to do.
I got you.
I personally liked it, but I knew that this is not something that I think was going to resonate with everybody.
So they tried to put like soul samples, but with the reggaeton
Yeah,
drums
yeah.
under it.
Or a lot of the soul samples were from like old school salsa beats.
Got
know.
you, got you, got
Yeah,
you.
and then to make
Because I'll be real, like I've I do beats as well, so I sample a lot of like Spanish stuff, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But I just don't do the like the reggaeton thing. I still put in like
Well, that's the thing, though.
hardcore drum, like hip hop drums under it and all of that. Like,
Well, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to do like the reggaeton instrumentals. And my Spanish is not 100%. I'm not fluent, unfortunately.
Got you,
My
me
boy
neither.
is. So when they would mesh us together, like I'll be doing the Spanish. I'll be doing the English. He'll be doing the Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like it just didn't. It wasn't sustainable enough. you
yeah,
know?
see, like I remember back when I was making music during those times, like I remember like I had a homie in my crew that was a reggaeton guy, but he was still rapping Spanish with us on like freestyle beats or whatever, like let's say we're doing Eminem, DMX, and Obi tries Go to Sleep, and you're gonna hear a homie with a Spanish verse, like we always had that, but nah, like we always had like the one reggaeton song together, like I'll be the English dude rhyming on the reggaeton shit, but never,
So I guess from a general standpoint, as far as hip hop is concerned, and you doing your music and making it a career, I feel like no matter what in anything in life you want to do, what you're passionate about, you're going to have some successes, but you're also going to have some trials and tribulations.
Right.
What are some personal trials and tribulations that you have personally faced on this journey to your career?
I mean, like as far as that, like I said, I came off of a break, not doing music for a while. Then, obviously music changed. Even just everything just was different. It wasn't like the last time I was doing music, like the boom bap stuff really wasn't that acceptable.
Right,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like people were like, that's that old stuff. Like you're doing the old stuff. Like people wanted, people with more
wanted,
trap
like,
and all that.
exactly.
They wanted
I was
more
gonna
of
say that. Trap music.
They wanted more trap stuff. They wanted more, like what's going on now, like the stuff that you see, So when I came back, it was like this style of music was now more acceptable. People want bars now. People want like, slower instrumentals, and they want to hear people, bar out now, so
They want to hear. They actually want to hear what you're saying, as opposed to just the auto tune shit.
right.
You know?
Right. So it's just like me, like I don't do hooks. I don't do like, rarely I do a hook. I'm not doing no like sing-songy anything. Like I'm not making jingles. You know what I'm saying? I'm going in and just wanting to bar out. And that's just kind of what I set out to do when I first started. When I like really sat back, I was like, okay, bet. Like I'm doing the thing with the mask. All right, cool. What do I want to do with the music? I was like, what didn't I like about the music that I was making back in the day? And I was like, all right, I would always have these forced hooks. You know what I mean? Or always the 16, 8, 16, like it was just following that format. And I said when I came back, I was like, yo, I just want to jump on records and just get busy.
Yeah.
And I was like, whether people like it or not, that's just what I want to do.
Now I want to go back to the hiatus though, because I explained why I went to my hiatus that actually turned into a permanent vacation.
Right.
What was it that you were going through during that hiatus, and then eventually you came back to it? Did you have like any discouragement, or you felt like it just wasn't working out, and you were kind of like at a standstill with what you were doing with music?
So it was like, yo, like I had like a shorty that was like my engineer, like a girlfriend that was an engineer basically.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? And we kind of went through our thing with that. And, I cheated, and she was like, yo, like, I'm not going to mix and master your music now. You're sitting here, doing ignorant dude stuff, So we ended up breaking up, and she didn't want to mix and master her project. None of the homies that I was with were trying to really do anything with the music. I didn't really own the beats. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of things that I was just looking at it, and I was just like, at the time, like, yo, money wasn't good, and I'm sitting here trying to like make something happen that isn't obviously working. So I was just like, one day I was just like, you know what? I think I've said what I need to say, and I was like, I think I'm good. I was like, I need to find something else, like a new hobby or something else to get into, and just like left rap alone. Didn't even care about it. Didn't care about the new whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just listened to what I liked, and
yeah, and it's because that's exactly where I fell into. Like I felt like, well, I mean, I didn't I have a strict rule where I don't hook up with people that I work with anyway. So,
Yeah, nah.
But
nah,
I just know.
that's my thing now. You know?
Okay.
That's my rule now. you know?
Yeah. Shout out to wifey, you know.
Yeah.
Mrs. Action Figure. But
Absolutely.
anyway, no, I know exactly where you're coming from, bro. Because I felt like I got bills piling up. This thing is not going the way that I wanted to.
Right.
There's people that have their own agendas and so on and so forth.
Right,
So
right.
you know what? I'm just gonna kind of just maybe I just said what I need to say. It's just a part of my history. I meant to take it as far as I thought it was gonna go, and that's it. And then afterwards, I gotta welcome the next chapter in my life. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm here for the ride. But my mistake also during that time was when I just decided to just be a good little citizen of the world, where I just go work a regular ass 9 to 5, and then just do my job, come home, eat my dinner, watch my movies or my sports, and then go to bed and do it all over again. Maybe I'll meet the love of my life, so on and so forth. I was just living in the moment, and maybe a little bit too much, but I wasn't doing anything extravagant. I wasn't doing anything extraordinary. As a kid, I always knew that I needed to do something, not even just for the money, but just something that I enjoy doing. And
Right.
that's that hiatus that I took is where I just became like a grass blade, just being part of just like everybody else. And that really depressed me. And that's when I fell into like a really dark place in my life.
Right.
Fast forward to now, where I actually found something like podcasting, and it's
Right.
kind of got me out of it. It rose me from the ashes, and now I
Right.
feel like I'm doing what I'm really supposed to be doing finally. And I
Right.
think that my episodes, the number of episodes that I've done, the people that I've worked with, the people that I've been on their shows and been able to do all these other things and have opportunities that I never thought I would have. This makes me finally realize that this is my calling. And then I don't know what it was that got you back into rap, but it seems like I haven't known you that long. This is the first time I'm meeting you, but the sense that I'm getting is that you're probably having more fun with music now than you ever have in your entire career.
Yeah, so let me just kind of I'm thankful for my hiatus. You know what I mean? I'm thankful for that time that I really had away from all of this. Like when I was striving for other things, like during that time I went through a dark depression. I went through a lot, but I got to learn a lot about myself as a human being, and I dived into doing other creative things, you know what I'm saying? Things that took me off my block. And I saw kind of like, when I was rapping back in the day towards now, like my confidence wasn't there at all. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't confident in what I was doing. You know what I mean? And I noticed things like that. Like, I used to listen to my music to try to like convince myself that it was good. You know what I'm saying? Where now it's like I could listen to my music and I stand on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like during that time I got more confident in myself as a human being, and like, traveling more and seeing things, and it's like, there is like possibilities, and like I was doing a whole other endeavor before this, and you know what I'm saying? It was taking me off my block. It was taking me to different places that now I'm going to rap now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like crazy. So, before the hiatus was up, it was right around the time I was about to get married. Wedding was in months away. I was doing something else that was a little time tasking. My wife was like, yo, can you take a break from that, do something else? At the time, I wasn't even smoking weed at the time. So, I started smoking weed again. And as soon as I started smoking weed again, it was like, yo, let's make some beats. That's what it became. It was just like, yo, what's good with some beats? And from there, I was just telling my homie this story yesterday. Like, I was like, yo, like, that's how it started. I was like, yo, I wasn't smoking after a while, and I started smoking again, and I was like, yo, let's make a beat. Let's do it. Let's see where this goes. And I still had Fruity Loops on my computer because I started making beats in 2015, and that was during the hiatus from rap. I learned how to make beats, and and was just doing so many other things. And then I was like, yo, let me fire up let me fire up the Fruity Loops. Let me go grab some samples. Like, yo, I know how to put drums and things together. Like, let's see what's up. Let's make some noise.
Now, how did you learn how to make those beats? Like, were you always in a musically inclined family, or you kind of just studied everybody else and what they were doing, and then try to put your own flavor into it?
Yeah. So, like my family, like I got family that have done music. Like one of my cousins is a Latin rapper from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Who passed away in the last couple of years, I believe.
My condolences.
Mexicano 77.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done like music with Tempo, Fat Joe, KRS-One.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I got another family member that's done music as well that I can't think of off rip right now. But so it's not super music inclined, but I had a homie that taught me how to make beats. He showed me like, yo, you know, how to sample. He was like, yo, you find old records, find parts with no drums. He's like, you just take that and you run with it, you know. So I seen homie make beats in front of me. He made it in like 15 minutes. So he broke down just the whole process. It, you know, made it easy. And then I saw a lot of Rhythm Roulette.
I love Rhythm Roulette.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
that's
one of my favorite YouTube shows. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
They haven't done it in a minute, but yeah, I was on it like crazy. Like a part of me was thinking,
me as
like,
well.
I was like, damn, I wish I knew. I wish I knew how to kind of make beats, even if not just make a career out of it, just to learn how to fuck around with it. You know?
Right. And that's how I did it. So I was watching a lot of that, and I was just seeing that, like, yo, it really is just that simple. You find the right part that you like, that you find to be more musical or whatever you're trying to convey, and go from there. So, like, I was watching a lot of that, and I just said, yo, I had my homie send me a crack version of Fruity Loops. You know what I'm saying? I still use the same version to this day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's like I think it's like Fruity Loops is at like 20, 22 now or something like that.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, like different numbers. So now I'm still using Fruity Loops 10, you know, like haven't updated
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So not even updating that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and you still making that fire ass music that I've been listening to for the past couple of weeks now with that.
Yeah.
Round of applause.
Yeah, so like Wrestling School, Haberdashery, Fort Norfolk, all of that. Anything that's my production, is made off of a laptop that I got at Best Buy for like $80.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you said on I think it was Sweet Low, where you were like the man that was raised off of Biggie and Stone Cold. Yeah. So obviously you got the luchador mask on. Right. We've been talking about music and so on and so forth. So obviously you're also a huge wrestling fan.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So. But here's the funny thing about it. So I've actually slowly but surely been getting into wrestling again, because there was a time when I was a kid and I fucking loved wrestling. Like Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan and Sting. Those are my guys. Ric Flair, woohoo, all that. And then I told the story before on the show where I kind of fell off of it because I remember when Hulk Hogan joined the NWO and I was heartbroken. I took that shit to heart. I almost cried when that happened. Right. And then somebody pointed out to me like, yo, that shit is fake. It's wrestling. Like, what? You're actually going to be all upset about something that's not even real and so on and so forth. Yeah. And then afterwards I got older and I started getting into other things. And then I just said whatever wrestling. I didn't watch it for the longest. Like I wasn't there for like John Cena and The Rock. And so I didn't even know these guys until they started making movies. So I'm like, oh, they used to be wrestling guys? I didn't know that. But now hanging around with people, like Marv, like Ugo, shout out to Ugo from the Ugo Boy podcast. He's also a rapper and a huge wrestling fan as well. And they kind of like slowly but surely be getting me into it. And the reason that I bring that up is because it's making me grow in the sense that I'm starting to find out things about myself. Like, all right, people would say even still to this day that wrestling is fake. So what? Right. Movies are fake. TV is fake. People acting fake. It's all just entertainment.
My argument when someone says like,
it's all entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's all entertainment, but it's not fake. It's predetermined.
Right, it's predetermined. Like these guys actually do get hurt.
Yeah, like I've come to know a couple of wrestlers. Shout out to like Enzo Amore. Shout out to Sabu. You know, I've met Sandman. I'm meeting soon. Like legends, and just I've met Rob Van Dam and all these guys. Like
have you
like
these injuries.
I have met Rey Mysterio. Nice. I have met Rey Mysterio. Just all these guys like I knew Enzo Amore. Like I seen like the realities of being an active wrestler. Yeah. And seeing him go like having little pain in his back, and you know what I'm saying, like we chilling like this, and now he got to sit there and like arch his back on like some contraption from a chiropractor. You know what I'm saying? So like, I've seen the reality of the music. So I hate when people say like, "Oh, it's fake." It's like, they're getting thrown around. Yeah, these guys are hitting the floor. Sometimes they hitting their whole back of their head. While I have a whole different respect for wrestling. And coming up, I came up towards kind of like the middle of the Attitude Era. Okay. I remember one day like my homie was watching it, and I was like, yo, how we sitting here? Like, I'm cracking on something for watching wrestling, but then I'm watching it and I'm getting into it. And it's right when when the Undertaker, they strap Austin to the to the Undertaker's logo, and they, I guess, like kind of crucify him.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Vince McMahon like reveals himself like that, like it's the whole "It's me, Austin."
Yeah.
That was my introduction to wrestling. And then like, yo, I remember watching Raw and it ended, and I'm like, nah, like, yo, I need more. Like, ever since then, that's when like I fell in love. So I missed all the Hogan and NWO and most of that stuff. Most of that stuff I had to go be a student and like watch it back and learn all of that. Yeah.
And another reason I bring it up also because I wanted to talk about this, and it ties into music as well.
Right.
So earlier in the days, especially with like Wu-Tang, like, you know, you'd have Ghostface Killer who would say that he's Iron Man, and then you got Method Man, he's Johnny Blaze, you know, the Ghost Rider, you know, and a lot of rappers back then, especially in my era, our era, I should say, is that they would incorporate a lot of pop culture references like comic book heroes and villains and this and that and the fourth. And then afterwards, hip hop kind of got away from that, and it was all about just the trap, you know, and all the drill music and all this other shit. That's the street life, you know. That's all it was about. Now I feel like it's starting to finally come back to where it once was, and that's, you know, adding the wrestling. Like now I'm hearing Ric Flair quotes. I'm hearing Ric Flair samples into records and so on and so forth. And there you go. Shout out to Ric Flair. But so I just feel like it's kind of the essence is kind of coming back where everybody is all trapped out. Nobody wants to talk about that shit anymore, and I'm here for it.
See, what I think is right. I think with rap and wrestling, they're one and the same.
Yeah.
I feel like as rappers, we cut.
You got your heels and you got your baby faces.
Yeah,
for sure.
you got the guys that are cool, and then you got guys that are just known for being complete dirtbags, and you have to accept that about them because that's their character.
Yeah,
I think people
50,
like yo, everybody that does like people doing these interviews, we all telling everybody like, yo, when we do songs and we're like, yo, I'm the best rapper, I'm this and that, like, yo, we cutting promos on guys, and you know what I'm saying, like we're actually like, yo, we're hyping up like the albums and the freestyles and the music is all prize fights at the end of the day. You know?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, you know, like we selling pay-per-view, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So actually, I mentioned before that my birthday is May 3rd, so it just passed. And again, you actually happen to drop a new project on May 3rd, 2024, Sui Generis.
Right.
That was with you and I can't pronounce his name. Maybe you could.
My guy Nesh Shimmelfinny.
Nesh Shimmelfinny. There you go. I've been listening to this EP for a while now, so. Yeah, I like the approach that you've been taking on this EP recently, and I also noticed that a lot of hip hop artists specifically, like, we're releasing a lot more material now than we ever have because, you know, we have the technology to do so and everything. But I also kind of feel like I miss the era where dudes actually took time to actually make a concept album or actually make an album and treat it like it's their baby. And dare I say, there be at least 13 to 15 tracks. Right. Now it just seems like somebody's just putting out maybe 3 or 4 EPs or an album, and it's only like maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 tracks. To me, if it's less than 10 tracks, it's not considered an album. No. That's just the way that I look at it.
See, me, like in my approach to doing the EPs and keeping them to low like that, kind of like 6, 7 songs, give or take. My whole thing is that a lot of people's attention spans.
That's exactly what I was getting at. That's exactly what I was getting at.
If you're not impressing somebody within the first 2 seconds, if I don't impress you in that first bar, you're not gonna want to listen to the rest of it. Yeah. So, to me, I kept it low so we could keep moving. I don't like being. People sometimes when you do those really long projects, people get pigeonholed into them where they hit creative roadblocks in it. To me, it keeps it interesting for me to go from one thing to the next thing. So it's like when I go to Wolverine, it's a completely different sound from when I go to like Nesh Shimmelfinny, or if I go to my brother Ose, or even doing records with myself. Is all different. So to me, I like doing that so we're not just like, people get pigeonholed when they do those. I feel they get so caught up in that one album and overthink that one project. To me, I like to just not be so confined. I want to keep moving. I want to keep working. I like just moving my pen. You know what I mean? And that's why I like. You know, I've been dropping a lot this year. You know, I've dropped a bunch this year, and
it sounds
it's
like
just
like
I've had the music, and what it is that I spent most of 2023 kind of building this stuff up. You know.
Yeah.
And then now we're just letting the floodgates open a little bit.
And you know what I also like about you is not just from a musical standpoint, but even from a personal standpoint, even though it kind of ties into the whole musical thing, is the fact that you got a ride or die. You got a woman. She's known as Miss Action Figure. I've seen both of you on social medias, and even she wears the luchador masks as well. So I have no idea what you two either look like behind the masks. But I love the gimmick, and that goes to show that not only is she riding for you and she believes in you and your dreams, but you are also in that mindset where, like, you know what, I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the glitz and glamour. I got a real one on my side, Absolutely. And I'm gonna roll with her. And I don't think that you see that very much, even in just entertainment. Period. Anymore.
Right. And I think what it is just like it's kind of like I remember there was this Chris Rock kind of thing on Hot 97 where he was being interviewed and he was talking about Kendrick and how and this was around I guess Pimp or Butterfly time. Yeah. Like he was like, yo, he just got married. He's like, yo, he kind of knows who he is. So with me and her, it's like I know who I am outside of this, and I know like at the end of the day, like I'm already defined, and that lets people know that I'm like defined as a human being. That I'm not doing this to impress chicks. I'm not doing this to, you know what I'm saying, have groupies or any of that. Like I let it be known, like. I know I have records where I talk about, you know, smashing chicks and you know what I'm saying, having women and, you know what I'm saying, like, and I say that too, like, my wife knows who she married, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying?
But that's my point, though, you know, at the end of the day.
So it's just like, that's why I just let it be known that, like, I'm defined as a man first, you know what I mean, and having her by my side makes, having a good partner is always essential. And she's incredible, and you know she inspired a lot of this. You know, this idea of the mask and everything is her idea.
Damn, look at that.
You know what I mean?
Look at that.
My idea was just I told her she had to wear it. That was it.
Hey, but yeah, she didn't oppose to it.
No, she didn't. Yeah. At first she did, and then like I kind of said this story too. Like I had when I did my first event. Like I have a you know, a prior, like a page that is not me in the mask, that is me as a human being outside of this. You know what I'm saying? And when I was at the event, somebody that is a friend on that page was there and knew and correlated, saw her and got weird. It got a little stalkerish. And you know what I'm saying? That's why now she had to wear the mask too. Well, good for her. Somebody got weird about it. Yeah.
Well,
somebody being weird about it. Yeah.
But it seems to be working out for both of y'all.
Essentially, like
you guys got your own identity.
Yeah. Essentially, so like when people finally when she finally like came out in the mask and all that, people were like, "Yo." I remember one of my homies, shout out to Heartbreak Julio, he hit me up. He's like, yo, is she gonna pop out wearing that too? I was like, yeah. He's like, y'all different. Yeah. He's like, yeah, super different. Yeah.
That is dope, man. That's almost like somebody doing a Star Wars wedding or some shit like that. You know you found a real one when she's gonna ride with you.
Hell yeah.
Any other baby action figures running around yet anytime soon?
Nah, I don't even got kids yet. Like so like
me neither. At least not that I know
children,
of.
Yeah.
Any plans in the future?
Want to have at least one. All right. My mom wants me to have at least one. So.
Yeah, my mom's actually on that same boat right now because maybe like 5 years ago she'd be like, Jason, don't be having no babies yet. I'm too young to be a grandmother. Now I'm almost 40. Neither me or my siblings have kids either. I mean, I guess I have 2 stepsons because my brother's with somebody that has 2 kids already. Okay. And I think he's playing the stepfather role right now.
That's dope.
Yeah, but now my mother is kind of like, all right, well, Jason, you're my firstborn. Like, when am I going to be a grandmother? Like, now you want it?
So, you know what it is with my mom's is like all her friends are grandmothers.
I see.
Right. So everybody that she knows is a grandmother, and she's like, yeah, like. What's up?
and it's the same thing. It's the same thing with even just my other family members. Like all my cousins seem to have kids now, and we're the only ones that don't.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing I have going on. Is like all my cousins have kids. So.
But see, also I'm a little old school too because I actually have always imagined myself getting married before I take that plunge. Because I'll be damned. No disrespect to any of my exes if they're watching, but I'll be damned if I had kids with them and we didn't work out, and I still have to deal with them afterwards. I'm good.
I'm totally glad. Like, yo, like I thank my lucky stars that I avoided all of that, because I see my friends that that are under that circumstance, and
Yeah,
it's
too
it's too complicated.
Too complicated, and it happens too often.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, bro. We're pressed for time here a little bit, so I feel like I could talk to you for a long time, but I want to get into the segment real quick. I introduced a new segment to First Class, Second Place, but I just want to say before we get into it, I really appreciate everything that you've been doing. I love all the music that you've been putting out there. I feel like you are absolutely keeping the essence of hip hop and where it should be, along with everybody else that you have in your circles and so on and so forth. So keep on doing it, man, and I'm gonna keep on listening, and I'm gonna keep putting your name out there for as long as I got air in my lungs.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the segment before we say goodbye on this episode to This or That. So, what I'm gonna do here is it's kind of inspired from that song. You can get with this, you can get with that. So basically, I'm gonna give you two choices, and you have to choose either one of them. No leeway. I'm not gonna give you any you have to choose one or the other. That's it. All right. You ready? All right. So let's do it. As Marv would say, let's mosey. So first, for This or That, playlist or podcast?
Playlist.
Taylor ham or pork roll?
Taylor ham.
Good. Sandals or Crocs?
Crocs.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Batman or Superman?
I guess Batman.
McDonald's or Taco Bell?
Taco Bell.
All right. Passenger or driver?
Passenger.
Half glass empty or half glass full?
Half glass full.
Being too hot or being too cold?
Being too cold.
Window seat or aisle seat?
Aisle.
You're just like me. Not a lot of people.
Yeah.
Call or text?
Text. If worthy, call.
Reading or writing?
Writing. But I love reading too.
Yeah, okay. Being embarrassed or being afraid?
Embarrassed. That's usually fun.
Mm-hmm. Book smart or street smart?
Street smart.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
And to give or to receive?
Give.
And finally, teamwork or solo project?
Teamwork.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for This or That. Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. Thank you so much to my guest, Action Figure 973, for coming through, man. Like I said, bro, I feel like I could talk to you for a lot longer, but you know what? We could definitely do this on more episodes in the future if you're open to it. Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, Action, can you tell us where they can find you on social media and other projects that you have coming
Action
up?
Figure 973. That's how you find me on all DSPs. That's how you find me on Instagram. That's how you find me on Twitter. You know, Bandcamp as well. So, you know.
Nice.
Please support. That's where all my projects are for sale. Cassettes, you know.
All right. And anybody want to give a shout out to before we close out?
Yeah, everybody. Mrs. Action Figure, my crew at Astra. You know, my guys War Ready, Letho, Karsh Kappa, E the Red, Kibo Hidi, Wolverine, my guy O's, Mars, just all the homies, man. Everybody showing love. You as well.
Thank you, brother.
You know, Marv, everybody here, Bravery, man.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
a lot of love, man.
A lot of love, man. Thank you so much for coming through, man. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube at First Class, Second Place. Thank you so much for tuning in and keep supporting the show. This has been the First Class, Second Place podcast. We out.